Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew. In today's video we're looking at how to stretch your sternocleidomastoid muscle, which is a mouthful when you say that a lot of times. And there's a couple of different approaches to this one. First thing we want to do though is review the anatomy, because the rule with stretching is you reverse the muscle actions. So when you understand when the muscle goes to, where it attaches, and then its action, so when it contracts, what it does to the head, then you can kind of reverse that action there, and then we'll run through the stretching technique. So here we have the sternocleidomastoid. It's usually got two components to it. So we have the sternal component, which goes to the sternum, and then we have the clavicular component, which goes to the clavicle here. So the sternal component, when we're looking at the attachments, it's on the mastoid process. So this bone here is the kind of the protuberance of the skull, and you can find that pretty easily if you just kind of come out underneath your ear and then slide your thumb down behind your ear. You'll feel there's like a bit of a bony kind of lumpy protuberance there. That's the mastoid process. So that's where that muscle's attaching, and you can see it's got a fairly broad insertion along the base of the skull. So often when it's tight, you can get these really nasty kind of headaches in the suboccipital region through here. Distally it attaches onto the sternum, so it's going to go onto this front bone here, so your sternum. So if you find your collarbone, where they two match there, and just below that, that's the sternum, so it's going to attach right onto there. So think just below your ear, so here, this is the external auditory meatus, so that's where the ear canal is. So if you go just below your ear and you palpate that bone there, so just below your ear and then to the sternum, and you draw that line, and if you tense your muscle, you can see the line of the muscle come up through there. Okay. All right. So you want to visualize this line. When we do the stretching, this is what you want to visualize through here. The second component is the clavicular head, so it has the same kind of attachment on the skull, on the mastoid process and the base of the occipital region there. And it comes down onto the collarbone or onto the clavicle here. So this is usually like the first third of the collarbone. So you can find the collarbone if you find your sternal notch through here, and then you just palpate along the side about a third of the way out. That's going to be your clavicle there, or your collarbone. So again, you can draw that line from here up on the side of the neck into your base of your head. So you're getting this kind of region through here. Now if we go into individual muscle actions, so we're using Complete Anatomy, which is a really good app for this. So you go into motion, and then we've got 3 different actions. So what an action means is when the muscle contracts, it's going to pull on the bones and say which direction the bones move. Okay, that's the muscle action. So most muscles have multiple actions. So the first one is we have lateral flexion. So when the sternocleidomastoid contracts, with the scalenes and the upper trapezius typically, you're going to get lateral flexion, which is just the head tilts to the side. So that's lateral flexion. So when we're stretching it, the first thing we need to do is laterally flex the neck. Okay, so that's going to be part 1 of our stretch. Now remember, if we're doing, for example, in this model, if we are going, this is the left side, we'll be stretching the right side. So in this diagram, it's showing muscle contraction, so you've got to think the opposite muscle or the antagonist. So when you have muscles that are bilateral, like the SCM, as in like they're on the same side, when you're doing movements where you're going to one side only, like lateral flexion, the other side has to relax, it has to stretch. Okay, so one way you stretch these muscles is you just create the action on one side, and that will neurologically help that muscle to relax. But then you also have to make sure you balance it to the other side as well. Okay. So we have lateral flexion, that's the first movement. And then we have flexion. So in flexion, this is basically your chin to chest movement. So you tuck your chin, look down. chin to chest movement. So this is your looking down muscle, okay, and it's bilateral, meaning that when they go together, you're going to get neck flexion. Now, if you just do one at a time, you'll create a slight rotation. So you'll go down and then to one side a little bit, down to one side. Now, this is what happens when. So if we stop it here, if you get your computer monitor wrong or your setup wrong, if you're doing a lot of driving, because often this muscle gets really tight through postural habits, usually relating to sitting instead of driving or at a desk. Okay, so if you're at the wrong height and you are in a slouch, what the eyes are going to have to do is lift up, so you've got your eyes in a horizontal plane, because that's how the eyes work. So you can't have your head tilted up, you can't have your head tilted down. The body will adjust to keep your eyes in this horizontal plane, looking directly into the middle of whatever it is, a target or object you're looking at. So when you're addressing your postural imbalance with your SCM, if you've got that forward head tilt kind of mechanic, you need to adjust your environment as much as you can. So you've got a good seated posture. When you're sitting tall, on your sit bones, we'll go through the stretching sequence as well. Then you can align everything correctly, and then you set up your posture, your driving station, your sitting station, so that your head is roughly in that position, so the body's not having to compensate to allow for the eyes to see correctly. This is also just something to keep in mind. This is a sit-up position, so the sternocleidomastoid has a relationship with your abdominals, your rectus abdominis. So if I zoom out, if I can maybe flip it around, can I turn it around? Yeah, here we go. If I can go at the right angle, sometimes complete anatomy is a bit weird to work. No, go, no, it's not going to work. Right, so just imagine you're lying on your back and you do a sit up. So what you want to do, this part here, the muscle is actually in a fairly lengthened position. It's really unique because when you tuck your chin in, that creates a lengthened, contracted muscle. It's not eccentrically contracting, it's just at a nice level length. So what you'll get is a really long and strong muscle. So when you're doing core work, what you want to always practice is tucking the chin to neutral, and then when you're doing your ab work, so like your sit-ups, because when you pull the ribs down, then the torso is going to flex and the head's going to follow the torso. There's a torso, so the head has to lift off the ground. Otherwise, you can't do a sit-up, right? So then you have to tuck your chin to accommodate that, so you're lifting the head. So what a lot of people don't appreciate with the sternocleidomastoid is it's actually carrying a lot of the weight of the head. So your bowling ball of your head, like 4 to 5 kilos, is sitting on that base of the neck on C1. So right up in here. So it's holding the weight of your head, particularly when you're doing any forward flexion type work. So think of your SCM as like your abs for your neck. All right, so the long-term fix is to actually do a lot of isometric and then concentric strengthening for your SCM, and the easiest way to do that is to do sit-ups. Okay, of course you're going to progress them gradually over time, but all you need to do is just, as you do your sit-up, just a little chin tuck. You don't have to go full neck flexion, but just a little chin tuck and kind of look towards your knees as you're sitting up. That'll help out a lot. To stretch this one, we need to go the other way. We need to look up. So if the full range of movement here is going to be flexion, looking down, essentially what we need to do there is look up. Okay. So to get into your SCM, you're going to need to laterally flex to one side, and then you need to look up. So that's part 2. So laterally flex to one side, so tilt your head to one side, and then look up. Now, when you do that, you might get some jamming in the base of the neck, because essentially what you're doing is you're closing down the joint spaces here, and so that can get a little bit uncomfortable. So that's where we need to look at the next step. So the next step then will be rotation. So when the SCM works on one side, you can kind of visualize this line of pull. It's going to create a rotation, so looking over your shoulder. Okay. So in this example, looking this way, this will stretch out the opposite side. So in our stretch, what we're going to do is we're going to laterally flex, look up, and then rotate. When you rotate, go really carefully and be really slow. So you'll be looking up towards the corner of the room. Okay. So if you look, follow your eyes to the front. So you're going to laterally flex, eyes are going to tilt. You're going to look up, and then you're going to rotate into the corner of the room. Okay. From there, what you want to do then is visualize the attachment point. So that bony part of the occipital. Visualize the line coming down through there to where your collarbones meet. Here, that's the line. Lightly clench your jaw. And then imagine you're lifting up your ear, like someone's just gently pulling your ear towards the roof. Keep your shoulder blades back and down, because what will happen is as you're trying to get in the stretch, the shoulders will elevate if you're not paying attention, and you'll lose the stretch. Okay, so I'll come back to the middle. So let's go through it. Okay, get into the middle here. Okay. So, stretching technique. The first thing you're going to do is set nice, good stretching posture. So in a chair, sitting with your sit bones sitting on the edge of the chair, make sure your knees are below your hips so your pelvic bowl is neutral. If your knees are too high, I'll go back a little further. If your knees are too high, like above here, it'll make you slouch. It'll make you roll back, and you kind of can't keep your posture properly there. So what you want to do is sit on the chair, wiggle your butt, feet flat on the floor, knees below the hips. So imagine you can slide down here on a slight angle. From there, if you wriggle your bum, find your two sit bones, and then just grow tall through the crown of your head. You'll naturally align your posture, so you've got this nice seated aligned posture. So you're not at attention and you're not slouched, you're in the middle. Also, just do a nice little shoulder roll, so just pull your shoulders up, back, and down. And then you're in that nice step position here. Let me come forward. Hopefully the microphone got that. Okay, now from this position, okay, once you've got that nice stack posture, okay, first thing you can do is you're going to laterally flex. So you're going to tilt your head to the right. Then you're going to put your neck into extension or look up gently. So look up, neck into extension, and you're going to rotate to the same side that you're flexing to. So you're going to look to the right. So what you'll feel is this gentle stretch start to engage on the left side here. From there, you're going to visualize the occipital region here and the mastoid process where the muscle attaches onto, coming down onto your sternum, so where your collarbones meet, your sternal notch, just below there. And you're going to visualize that line, or lightly clench your jaw. Good. And then imagine someone's lifting your ear up towards the ceiling as you depress your shoulders down. Now once you're there, you might just need to change your angle a little bit. So just move your chin around until you find the sweet spot. Once you're there, you're going to take 3 slow breaths in. You're going to inhale, exhale, just hold position. You're going to use your weight of your head. You're just going to slowly tilt out to the side a little bit more as you exhale. Breathe in, breathe out. Making those little adjustments, keeping a line of stretch on the side of the neck. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Come back to the middle slowly. Good, and give it a roll. Now, if you're super tight in there, you'll definitely get that sensation. Let's do the other side together. So reset your posture, find your sit bones, knees below the hips, feet flat on the floor. Shoulders back down and relaxed. So you're not at attention, you're not slouched, you've got nice posture. Lightly tuck your chin in, so don't jam it in. So don't tuck, just a light tuck. That creates the long neck, extension of the neck. And then keep that feeling going. You're going to grow tall through your spine. So it's like you're growing tall through your spine. Once you've got that posture, so now we're going to do the right side. So we're going to laterally flex to the left, look up, extension of the neck, and then rotate left, very gently, very slowly, feeling the stretch coming down the side of your neck. So behind the ear, along the side of the neck, to where your collarbones meet. You can kind of see the line here. That's the muscle. Good, to where your collarbones meet, the sternal notch, just below there. So that line. Now and then just adjust your angle till you find the stretch. It's going to be slightly different for everybody. Once you're there, you take 3 slow deep breaths in. When you inhale, try to lengthen and grow tall through your spine. Your ears lifting up as you inhale. As you exhale, relax the chest, sink the shoulders down, and just lean your head into your stretch a little bit more. Good. So it might be just a little bit more of a rotation, a bit more extension. Go again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Come back to the middle. Relax. Give your shoulders a bit of a roll. Amazing. Okay, now a couple of notes anatomically here. Let's go back to complete anatomy. Now, you need to be very careful and very cautious when you're doing these stretches because you are closing down a lot of these spaces in the neck. Okay, so we come back out of here. So particularly this region through here is very sensitive. You have the main artery coming out of the head. So if we put the arteries on. Okay, so you have a couple of these big arteries, particularly through here. So the internal carotid artery. Okay, and that actually goes through just in front of the cervical vertebrae there, so it goes just in front of it. So this one here, carotid artery. But we also have this little one here, the vertebral artery, which goes between the foramens of C1, C2. Okay. So what you need to be is very careful because when you are going into lateral flexion, extension, and rotation, you are closing down these spaces potentially. So you can crimp the pipe, if you will, or compress it, or restrict the blood flow a little bit. Okay. Particularly if you've got structural changes in the neck. Now the neck is designed to do all these movements. So in a healthy neck, no problem. It's designed to do that. But if you have neck issues in the past, maybe you've had a whiplash injury or a cervical issue, you need to be very, very gentle and go very cautiously through this. Now, you'll know you're in trouble when you get any kind of like numbness, tingling, paresthesia that's going in the base of the neck and into the arms, because all the basically the nerves that supply the arms come out the side of your neck. Or if you get kind of really dizzy, all right, you know you're going a bit too far. Okay, so you've got to go really, really slow, really, really gentle. Now, this is the problem with these kind of these base and neck issues, like if you had a whiplash problem before, is that you have all these little muscles here as well. But put a couple of layers in. So you've got these big muscles here, like the semisplenus, which is actually pretty big. But if I could take that one away, will it show me? Yeah, these are the ones you want to see. So you've got all these little rotation muscles. Okay, rectus posterior minor capitis muscle, the major capitis muscle, what's this one here called? The superior capitis muscle, and essentially you got like a really tight intrinsic base of muscles going on to C1, C2, and then onto the base of the skull here. So when you have your head in a poor position, so if it's usually like what's called the forward head carriage position, which is protruding forward, that closes that space down there a lot. And these muscles, they can get quite tight and restricted. And then you don't get rotation of the neck properly. Okay. They need to be retrained and re-strengthened to really resolve ongoing neck problems. So people who have really bad kind of suboccipital headaches, which are kind of musco tendinous in nature. So it's not a nerve problem, it's not a blood flow problem, it's not a stress problem, it's really mechanical. It's just how the body's positioned. Once you get these muscles strong, a lot of the pain will just go away. And I've seen it happen many times with clients I've worked with. Okay. The first thing is you need to be able to align that posture, that same thing, and that little chin tuck, just tucking your chin in and out, is a great little technique to do. So another way to do it is you can grab a fist, put a fist on your collarbone, and then just drop your chin onto your chest, and then suck back a little bit, take your hand away, and that will be neck neutral. So in Chinese medicine, we measure where to put the acupuncture points based on what's called a Sun measurement. And a Sun measurement is individually based on people's proportions, because if you study visual arts, like I study visual arts and all, we have this thing called the golden mean. And you apply it in the human body, and it's pretty cool. It's like the size of the skull, so your size of your skull fits 7 times in your body, right? And that's pretty much universal. So there's this natural proportion in everyone's skeletal structure. And so when you get your natural proportions and balance correct, then the body starts to really work in real good unison. So part of that is you just want to tuck your chin a little bit, use your hand here as the guide, use your own measurement tool, the fist, rest your hand on your collarbone, drop your chin down, so I do it from the side, and then I take my hand away. That will naturally line my eyes up in a beautiful horizontal plane. Really, really handy tip. So when you're doing your core training, you want to tuck your chin a little bit, and then slight, so that's called retraction, and then slight flexion to see SCM muscles are engaged. Then your head will be stabilized, your neck will be neutral, and then you're good to go. And then if you're doing core training, like more sit-up work, you just get to press down a little bit more. And because, as I said, the SCM works with the abdominals, like the SCM is the abs for your neck. Okay, so once you resolve those issues, and you know how to stretch that muscle properly, the SCM properly, and then you add in the sit-up technique, okay, and then the last thing I would do is then add in prone extension. So essentially what you're going to do is tuck your chin, lie down on your back. So lie down on your back, rest your head on your hands like so. So imagine I'm lying on my belly, and then you're just going to like lift your head up, tuck your chin, and then just transfer your weight onto the bottom of the ribs. So you're coming up into a prone extension, and you're trying to get this nice chin tuck like that. So if I stand up, flip it over onto the other. So imagine I'm lying down, I'm resting my head on my chin or on my hands like that, doesn't really matter. So I'm lying down, and what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, tuck your chin, lift your chest slowly off the floor till you feel the weight going to your rib cage, and then tuck your chin and lengthen. Imagine your head's growing tall as you're coming up. So you start to train these neck muscles through here in a very gentle way. You can also do it against the wall. So you could imagine I'm leaning against the wall there. I could bring my hands up against my head like that, and I just gently tuck my chin and push the back of my head into the wall, and then relax. Tuck chin, and relax. So as I'm tucking my chin and I'm supporting my head here with my hands, okay, like that, kind of give yourself a double chin. So in a Qigong practice I do called bone marrow cleanse, we do a full stretching sequence where we're doing the whole upper body, neck. Okay, it's a really beautiful sequence. Okay, and one of them is we do a double hands behind the head, and then we tuck the chin in, and you resist, and then relax and bring your elbows forward and then chin down. Then lift up, elbows out wide, tuck your chin, push the back of your head into the hand, relax, elbows forward, chin down. Open, okay, from the side, tuck your chin, push the back of your head into your hands, resist, and then you're kind of cupping your thumb underneath under here. So underneath there, you're kind of cupping under there, and as you push your head back in, you're lifting your head up. So you're creating that axial extension. You're lifting your head up as you tuck your chin, and what that's going to do is create that space at the base of the neck there for you. When you bring your elbows forward, it's going to open up between your shoulder blades. Okay, tuck your chin, and you're going to come down. So this is more of a stretch of the back of the neck, the upper trapezius. And then as you come back up, you resist, open, relax. But if you're interested, I can do a video on the whole stretching sequence. Once you learn it, it takes around about 15 to 20 minutes to go through. But if you something that you'll want to develop is a really healthy upper neck shoulder kind of region, it's a great sequence to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop questions in the comments. Really appreciate all your support and questions as we slowly growing this channel. It's heaps of fun and it's great to share knowledge. Any feedback is always appreciated, and please, of course, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in the next video.